Hi there, my name's Sean. Thanks for taking the time to have a look at the resilience building workshop that we're promoting at the moment. I thought I'd take a few minutes and just give you a bit of an overview about what it is and how the workshop sort of works and what you might expect if you were to become a participant. Hopefully it helps you make a more informed decision. So resilience is a pretty hot topic at the moment, and I thought I'd start by just explaining just briefly what resilience actually is. It's something that we'll look at in the workshop in more detail. So in essence, it's the ability to bounce back after adverse events and situations for humans. For organisms like plants, there's a little picture of a plant there, it's probably the ability to thrive in adverse situations. So you think of something like the Australian bush, its resilience is demonstrated after a bushfire when it grows back thicker and stronger. Resilience for a human is an empowering mindset. So empowering is talking about your ability to see problems as challenges, to find novel and innovative solutions to them, to be able to access other resources in order to get good solutions. So empowering mindset is very important. They're not directly linked, but resilience is often the hallmark of emotionally intelligent people. And the good thing about emotional intelligence is it can actually be learned. It's not a genetic, innate level of intelligence or emotional intelligence that you're born with. You can always improve it. So that's a really positive thing. And likewise, resilience is a set of skills, tools, techniques, attitudes, beliefs that can be learned, which is what this workshop is about. It's about talking about these strategies, tools and techniques so that you can become more resilient in whatever the challenges are that you face. So some of the things that are challenging our resilience, the world is changing. It's changing at a very rapid pace. It's global, so it doesn't quite fit in the palm of your hand, but we are much more connected to the other hemispheres and the other countries and continents and things around the planet. And there's definitely a 24/7 expectation. If anybody's doing any work with international markets or maybe some offshore support services, that sort of thing, then you'll understand that when you're trying to sleep, they're operating and you need to be available. The concept of continual improvement, this has been a business mantra for a long time. We're always striving to improve, to make things better, faster, more effective, etc. In my opinion, there's a tipping point where that pursuit of continual improvement comes at a cost. And in the current climate, the cost is the resilience of our people. Financial and economic uncertainty. Some of the most destabilising things that you'll experience in your own life is financial stress. On a global scale, it's even more profound. There are a lot of unhealthy mindsets out there at the moment, and this isn't any fault of the people who hold them. Some of it is our conditioning. We are programmed to believe and to think in certain ways, and more importantly, we're not actually taught about the power of our beliefs, our thoughts, our mindsets, our attitudes, values, etc., and how to make more informed choices that are consistent with those sorts of things. So unhealthy mindsets really challenge our ability to be resilient. The final thing that I'll talk about today is the multiple roles that we have in life. So I've worked with a lot of female managers who are striving to be the perfect manager, they're striving to be the imperfect employee, they're striving to be the perfect partner, mother, daughter, all of those sort of things. So with all of those multiple roles, it puts a lot of pressure on us to continue performing at our best in each of those areas, and quite often they overlap and start to bleed into one another. So if, for instance, you may have aging or ailing parents, or your work life is not so rewarding, that tends to spill over and affect the other areas of our lives. Unrealistic expectations. I say as a joke to a lot of my coaching clients, achieve all you want, lower your expectations. So there is an element of truth in there. Often we are overreaching. We are programmed and conditioned to think that the biggest house, the shiniest car, the biggest bank balance, all of that sort of stuff is the important thing, is the goal. Unfortunately, that just turns us into grist for the mill. It means that we've got to continue working more and more frenetically in order to provide for these things that we're told that we need. Now, I'm not saying that it's no good to pursue those things. I enjoy them. I pursue them. It's just about managing the expectations. So things like, optimalistic path, and I said optimalistic, not optimistic, optimalistic path versus the perfectionist path. How will you know if you're not resilient? Well, if you're looking at this, you've probably got a bit of an inkling already. But some of the key characteristics: increased stress. So whether you hold that as physical tension, whether that's emotional stress, or just the pressure to perform, it tends to increase. Anger, frustration, and conflict. So if you're angry about things or incredibly frustrated, or if you find yourself in conflict, multiple conflicts, or a serious conflict, then it's probably starting to tax your resilience, but probably also a bit of a result of being a little less resilient than you could be. Poor health is often a sign, so the body manifests what the brain thinks in a lot of cases. So if we are having some toxic psychology going on, that could actually manifest in poor health. And it might not be direct, but it might be, if I don't have enough time or energy or motivation to do some exercise or to watch my diet, that could have a health impact down the line. So poor health is a sign. Depression. Rates of depression are increasing, particularly here in Australia. Some would say that it's just a more or an overdiagnosis. Personally, I think people are becoming a little bit more aware of just how their brain works and how they're thinking and feeling, and it's a little less taboo to talk about being depressed. Life out of balance. So if you find, you're all work and no play, that's not a good sign. If your relationships are suffering as a result, if your health's suffering as a result, all of those sort of things, probably a good indicator that you're not being all that resilient. Physical tension, that probably links back to that stress as well. So you can feel it in your body, can't you, when you're stressed and there's that toxic sort of stuff coursing through your system. Diminishing performance in any aspect of your life, ranging from a deterioration of performance all the way through to I'm no longer doing the things that once were important to me. All of those are signs as well. So what's involved in the workshop? Well, there are some pre- and post-course activities. So prior to coming along, I'll actually send you some instructions. I need you to complete a psychometric assessment and also think about there'll be some activities that I want you to do, and I don't want to give them away now. And then there's some post-course activities. So obviously the workshop's in the middle there. The post-course activities, they're designed to reinforce the learnings, to touch base down the track so that you've got some exercises and activities that you can start to implement. I mentioned the online personality or psychometric assessment, so I'm using the Myers-Briggs Type Indicator, and I actually produce a stress assessment report. So that's a unique insight into how your profile responds to stress, some strategies that you can use to manage stress, and how others might perceive what's going on for you. The workshop is definitely experiential and interactive, meaning there will be things for you to do. It's not just me standing up and talking to you for 5 or 6 hours or however long it is. It's you get involved, and the more you put into it, the more you get out of it. I definitely have a challenge by choice ethos. So some of the exercises are quite challenging for some people. You won't be forced to do anything that you're uncomfortable with. I might have a bit of a talk and see whether maybe there's some merit in pushing through some barriers or boundaries, but at the end of the day, it's your choice about what you participate in and what you don't. The workshop will present strategies, models and tools, all designed to improve resilience. So there's a range of different topics that we're talking about here, and I'll go into a bit more detail in some of the next slides. Key point, this is not a magic bullet. It's a very good starting point. It's got some very good resources, and if you do the things that we recommend that you do, you will find that you become more resilient, but you don't come to the workshop and walk away a more resilient person immediately. It is through application, trial and error, and through doing that you're going to improve resilience. So what you'll learn, hopefully, improve self-awareness. We'll talk about increasing your emotional intelligence, so EQ stands for emotional intelligence. We'll spend a little bit of time looking at actually the mechanics of your brain. So how does the electrical and chemical energy or impulses or messages move through your brain, and how does that influence our feelings, our emotions and our actions? You'll learn about your MBTI stress profile and what it says about you. We'll talk about the difference between optimism and pessimism, and I'll introduce this concept of optimalism. So the optimal pathway to get something done versus the perfectionist pathway to get something done, which if you're like most people, you might be a bit of a perfectionist. I know I certainly am, and it gets in the way. Waiting for something to be perfect, it's still not delivered. More often you're better off actually getting something out there and improving on it. We'll talk about mindsets, what they are and how they work. We'll practice how to shift your mindset for better outcomes in a range of different situations. There's a model I call Think, Feel, Do. What you think influences how you feel and ultimately what you do. So we'll unpack that, explore it and see where that's working and not working for you. One of the key concepts around this workshop is this topic. It's a very hot topic at the moment, mindfulness, being present in the moment, not worrying about the past, not worrying about the future, and being engaged and engrossed in the activity that you're doing. Gratitude is also another very key concept in resilient people, so we'll talk about gratitude. And there's a whole lot of other things that we'll cover as well that I haven't put up on the slide today. This is me, a little bit of background just so you understand where I'm coming from. So I'm the principal consultant for Blaze Unlimited. That's my own business. I've been doing this for about 8 years, and I've been working in this space for probably close to 17 or 18 years now. Don't want to blow my own horn too much, but hopefully you'll find me engaging. The feedback that I get from workshops suggests that that's the case, but obviously you'll have to be your own judge at the end of the day. I'm really excited about positive psychology in this application. So positive psychology is the exploration of what goes right in a human brain. Why is one person more resilient than somebody else? Why is some person happier than somebody else? Why is somebody more optimistic? What are they doing differently? So we'll talk about that all throughout the workshop and look at ways that we can apply some of those very sound theories supported by research and science, and also, interestingly enough, in some cases by thousands of years of Eastern approaches. So there's a strong overlap between the Western models and the Eastern philosophies that have been around for a long time. That's how long I've been doing this. So I've been working in HR, learning, organisational development, change management for a long time. Got a background in psychology, and the focus of my business, you may have seen that on the website, but it's really about improving engagement at work. So I truly believe that a happy worker is a productive worker, and I also believe that if you can find a job that you love, it feels like you never have to work another day in your life. Now I know that's a lofty statement, I agree. Anything that you have to do day in, day out, at some point has the potential to be a bit of a pain, but by and large it's a worthy goal and worthy of our pursuit. The next steps, we're still playing around with an automatic booking process, so we're resorting to a manual process at the moment. If you're ready to register, you can send me an email and just give me your details and say that you'd like to enrol in the Resilience Building Workshop, and I'll send you a welcome pack and get your pre-attendance activity started. Payment may or may not be through PayPal, so that was about the online module, which you haven't actually got set up yet. So there's options. You could pay by credit card, bank transfer. There's a range of things there. These are my contact details, so if you want to speak with me, you can send an email to info@blazeunlimited.com.au. There's also contact details on the website. I'm on Facebook, that's the Facebook address there, and I'm also on LinkedIn if you wanted to connect that way. I think that was my last slide. Okay, so the logistics. So the workshop is scheduled for the 11th of October. It'll be held up here in Brisbane in a really nice space called the Judith Wright Centre for Contemporary Arts. It's in Fortitude Valley, so it's not far out of the city. It's a little easier to park and that sort of stuff for those of you who are coming from around the place. The cost is $299. That includes GST, it includes your lunch. I will ask you if you've got any dietary requirements when we make contact, and there are discounts available for multiple bookings. So if you've got 3 people that would like to come along, probably best to send me an email and let me know, and then we'll arrange a discounted price for you. Well, that's it for me. Thank you for your time. I hope that's answered a few of your questions. If you've got any more, by all means, contact me either on my blog, website, or by email directly, and I'll do my best to get back to you as soon as possible. Thank you very much, and have a wonderful day.